That's dabbing. That is not a stretch, sir.
Infinite dab. Go.
Turbo dab. Deep dab.
Oh, Jesus!
Hello and welcome to the Streamless Podcast. Today with me, I have Cordi.
I'm in danger.
We also have Swayman.
I'm squeaky clean.
Rhenvi.
I'm a ball of sunshine mixed with a little hurricane.
Oh, all right, okay. Hurricane Rhenvi, all right, okay. And my name is Josh, and I can finally bend over and touch my toes without bending my knees.
Okay, congratulations. I've never been able to do that.
I think you win the pandemic, buddy.
Well, I started doing 30 days of yoga with Adrian. I know Cordi's been, that's someone that she follows every now and then. But I'm only on day 8 of it, and I'm already like, I can touch my toes without bending my knees, and but I can't do it sitting down. Because I can only go like this far before it's too much.
Shin height, shin length.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, but she was like, today's it was like, start like I'm in like a deep squat, and she's like, put all the weight on your hands and just kind of like feel it out.
Yeah.
And if you feel like trying it out, try the crow pose. And I held it for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's a good feeling.
Yeah, it's not long, but I was like, holy fuck, this is actually making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I can already feel the difference in my flexibility.
Audience, you can't tell this, but we've mentioned it before. We have our cameras on when we're recording these, and you can tell the 2 people of this group who do not work out. And we are stacked on top of each other currently, like, oh wow. Yep, we got nothing for that. And I'm thinking like, I'm pretty sure they're also thinking, can I touch my toes? Because I'm also thinking that too.
But what I have as a takeaway from that is that Josh is now able to do the bend and snap.
Oh, legally blonde this motherfucker.
I can do it even better now. Yeah.
Yes.
The only problem is that the ceiling here is like, if I stand up and I'm touching the ceiling right now.
Oh my
God. I don't even have to get on my tippy toes. So
oh dear Lord.
I was wondering what.
So like whenever I have to do like what is it mountain pose where you like stretch or whatever. I just have to touch the ceiling because I can't do anything else.
Jeez.
But yeah,
you just lift the tiles and to the ones upstairs, and you're like, hello.
Yeah. It's been really rewarding. I'm glad I started doing yoga. It's harder than it looks.
Yeah.
It is so much harder than it looks.
I can imagine.
But it is relaxing and rewarding all at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All the time, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, hello.
Hello. Sorry, I went off on a tangent there because I was so proud of myself.
I'm proud of you. I mean, I want to try it, but I feel like I'd fart like crazy.
Oh my! Are you gonna try? Is that a Scooby Doo shirt?
Wait,
hold on.
It is a Scooby Doo shirt.
Stop the podcast. That's a Scooby Doo. I need that. Where did you get that? I need it.
Hot topic.
Hot topic. Yeah.
Oh, there's no fucking way.
Yeah, no, I can't. Oh God, no. Simon's getting up. I can't do it with my legs straight anymore. I haven't done yoga in a year.
I've got about this much until I touch my toes.
That's about 6 inches?
Yeah.
Not this much.
Simon's like, I'm about an inch away from touching my toes, bitch.
What I learned though with yoga, and this is so not on topic, we're already off topic. We haven't even started yet, and we're already off topic. But like the thing that's helped me is that like I always like try to do like the extension, like bend at it, but like at first I couldn't touch my toes. Just let gravity do it, and eventually you'll just. In 8 days, I'm touching my toes already, so...
As a fat person, I know how to let gravity do its work.
I think also I just ate, so if I was like trying to like stretch it down, I'd be like, this would not... I would no longer retain the contents of my stomach, so I was like, let's not push it. Push it. Nah, no.
Push it real good.
So, right? And I was like... We're not going to do that today. But I bet you, though, if I was sitting down and I had to, like, reach out and stretch that way, I could probably do it. But this, I would have tumbled over into the wall.
Yeah.
And that would have been a whole blue scrubbies. That would have not been fun. Like, Scrub.
I think that my belly is the reason why I can't touch my toes sitting down, because it's like getting in the way. There's only so far I can go before I'm like, I feel like I'm suffocating myself.
Whereas when you're standing up, it hangs down forward and not down towards like your lap when you're trying to do it. That makes a little bit of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have that big of a belly, but like still, I'm like, I know I can get there. Get out of the fucking way.
Story of my life. I'm like, can we just maybe no? Okay, that's fine.
No.
You stay there. You stay there. It's all good.
Well, maybe soon my whole world will change and I'll be able to like do
you'll have a breakthrough.
I don't know, handstands and back bends. That'd be cool.
I feel like so it's just we're already here. That also kind of is terrifying. I think it's like around 30-ish roughly. Your body just is like, nah, chief. Like, I know, like, my husband, like, sprained his ankle, like, 2 years ago, and that shit has never healed back correctly.
Right,
it was just sprained. But he's like, it's never back, it's never back to, like, the original the original settings, like, and the manufacturer's warranty is worn off. Like, we'll never get the OG
and you
parts,
forgot
right?
to purchase the extended warranty.
Right.
Or didn't want to.
Never been
like,
the same.
I'll be fine.
Right. Oh, yeah. They went and checked him out. He had no broken bones or nothing, but it's never felt the same for him. And I'm like, so you're like, oh yeah, back clips or back bends. And I'm like, that sounds like a potentially paralyzing situation. I don't know. That's just me. Right. And like, I'm that person who doesn't know how to like skate. Or, like, I skate or roller skate. And so whenever I go out with my friends, my best friend played hockey for years. So she could like, hockey stop. And like, and does everything around me like no one's business. And I'm like, okay, all right, you're great. The next day, meanwhile, I'm sore from like the lower rib cage to like the upper thigh because your body's trying to be rigid and not like move too much to do too many things to stay upright. And those days I feel like, God, am I going to be hospitalized? Because like I'm really working it out, Chief. I'm really working it out.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine trying like a back bend because I feel like I would just be like, and paralyzed.
Diff.
Right?
I was sort of like adventurous with my body as a kid, sort of, but like not in the sexy way, Simon. I see you looking over at me that way. But like I feel like a lot of kids when I was younger were like trying to do like different things and stuff. And I'm like, if I would like try to do a back bend and like it just was just uncomfortable, I'll be like, no, like that doesn't feel right. But then as I'm doing these different yoga poses and stuff, I'm like, I couldn't even do this as a kid, but I can do this now.
Yeah, you're like,
you know what I mean?
What?
Yeah.
That was like back then. You remember how kids would do like the crab walk? My chubby ass was like, you know what? I see you and I raise you walking.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a no for me, dog. I don't think so. It's too much round to figure out. True to form, true to canon on this podcast. We just take a wild left turn.
Yeah, already.
But we do have some stuff to talk about today, though.
Yes.
Some fun topics.
Yeah.
Starting with, I'm gonna throw it out there. I'm gonna yeet it over. I'm gonna start with Cordi. I'm gonna tap her on the shoulder.
Oh dear.
Yeah, you're welcome.
No.
So for today.
Yes.
In terms of like cool stuff, imaginary stuff, fictional stuff.
Yes.
What would you say would be some best and maybe some worst fictional worlds?
Okay.
I want to hear what you have to say because I know your love for lots of different things.
I'm still trying to think of a best, but a worst. In my opinion, none of you have read the series. It's a comic book series called Transmetropolitan by one of my favorite comic book authors, Warren Ellis. It is a very depraved society where pretty much everything goes. Drugs, alcohol, violence, all of this stuff. Things are just fucking out and wild, which, you can get to your debauchery and everything perfectly fine. You're not really going to be apprehended. Murder is still outlawed and stuff, but violence isn't as big of a deal or anything. And the story follows like a journalist who's, trying to do stuff, make the world a better place, basically trying to survive because he ran out of money and they're like, hey, we still have that book deal for you. And he's like, oh, I guess. But that world, like, as much as it would be cool to be able to do your own thing however you want with pretty much no repercussions, it would kind of suck to be at other people's whims in that regard. Because you never know when you're just going to get smacked up the backside of the head with a hockey stick. It could just happen out of nowhere. You know, oh, look, the building next door just blew up. Well, fuck.
Oh, well.
Like, you know, it's a really good series, but I would not want to live in that world whatsoever.
My mind took off on that because you were talking about how he was like writing and people were like, oh, we put out a new book or whatever else. And I just imagine that as being like a post-apocalyptic like misery waiting to happen. Like, where's the Kathy Bates who's like, finish the chapter, you know, like hobbling the fuck out of him. Like, raid Shadow Legends, like, do it. That's all I can imagine. And I'm like, enter Kathy Bates, enter Kathy Bates, enter Kathy Bates. And I'm like, please. Oh, God. No, I can't, I agree with you. I don't think I know about best or worst, but like, I like a lot of, and most of you guys know, and people who've watched my Twitch streams, I get very engrossed in certain story-based like games. And, like, they're kind of built around fictional worlds. And I don't know if I would consider it fictional or sci-fi, but it's still, I guess at the end of the day, fictional. But things like Cyberpunk, right? Things like... And even that newest Star Wars game I loved, Fallen Order. But, like...
God,
but I think
that game is so good.
Wasn't it? I love it!
Yeah.
I love it! So I won't spoil anything. But this is a generic thing that, like, I think just in general, just the different... in the universe, there's so many different types of like vehicles, right? It's different types of like species and different types of like. At the end of the day, I just want a lightsaber, so I can just be like, shoom, 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 like for no good reason. But like, I would, if I had a lightsaber, I would 110% like every meeting I was on for work, I'd turn on my camera and be like, haha, yes, shoom, like it would just be. I would use every excuse, and every sentence was like, nyum, nyum, nyum. Like, I'd probably accidentally tear through my house and do unintentional renovations. Like, but I would be like a maniac, just not stop, like a kid on a pixie stick, like just, sugar. But I think that would, don't laugh at me. Don't look at me like that. I see you.
No. Did you know that the alpha test for the lightsabers are out, though?
I wish you hadn't told me that.
What do you mean?
They exist and they cut right through shit.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, for my future prison sentence, Simon started it. Tag it. but I like, and I think maybe it's kind of ties back to like what I do for a living is like very tech based. So I love things where there's advanced levels of tech and like things that engineering minds haven't figured out how to do. Like 99% of those vehicles in Star Wars, like those are not like possible with today's engineering and knowledge of physics. So it's just kind of cool to see like, oh man, we could be here, we could be there. Or even things like, I know it sounds, the premise of the movie was a little wild, but like, you guys remember Minority Report?
Yeah.
From like forever ago. Just the ability, right, to
It's been a while.
almost I call it like the CSI Zoom effect, where they're like, oh, license plate, which looks like a blurry piece of shit. And they're like, enhance. And I'm like, yeah, okay, good luck. And it's like, oh, A12Z76. And it's like, we've got the license plate. Get on him. And it's like, what? How did you get that out of like a...
But try enhancing that left screw.
Yeah!
You see the reflection of that one? We got him.
Yes, you know what I mean? Like, but like even back then, the tech that was like crazy, right? Like zoom in, we're gonna find like this crime, boop, 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 boop. And like that was so many years ago. All the way to like different stuff. Like obviously Matrix is different, but like the tech is what I'm looking at. Like getting plugged in, like that's a little terrifying. However, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, I can get plugged in. So that kind of stuff, like as a whole, for me, is like tech. Yes, I like that. Let me touch it. Yum. What about you guys? Anything best or worst?
My best, I guess, would probably be Harry Potter. I would want to live in
I
that
can
world.
see it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, like as you guys know, I'm a huge like whenever I play a video game, I'm like magic. It has to have magic, and I have to be the mage and stuff like that. So like I don't know, like it would be Harry Potter just for the fact that like I would get to go to a school and get to learn all this stuff and all this other stuff. But then at the same time, thinking about like because I was struggling with different ideas of where I'd want to live, like what fictional world I'd want to live in. And like Harry Potter has its own problems, like, you know, Dark Lords trying to kill everybody and like all this other crap, mystical creatures and stuff, which could easily kill you, by the way. So part of me is like trying to be realistic at the same time, like, would that really be a good world to live in? And then like a couple of the other ideas that I had was like Spira from Final Fantasy X or Midgar from Final Fantasy VII. Like, would I actually ever want to live in any of these places?
So I feel like you and I would actually want, and I'm Stewie from Family Guy who has that little like teleporter.
Yeah.
I feel like we would like to nosh on them like appetizers and then move on.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to just drop in, like, sending you greetings from post-apocalypse number 1. Boop.
Right.
Mail that postcard. On to the next one. Because,
like, I feel like all of the fictional worlds that I can personally think of are always on the brink of something happening. Something world-changing.
Yes, yes.
Possibly world-ending.
Yeah.
So like, I don't... I think I'm good with the way things are.
I feel like most fictional worlds are either post-apocalyptic or about to hit that point.
Right. Like the bomb's like so close to dropping. It's like, we'll pause here for a minute, but then we're gonna drop. Yeah. Yeah. Idyllic conditions, beautiful, lovely.
But then, like, I would like to play with the idea of, like, okay, let's take the concept of magic from, like, Harry Potter and just shove it into our everyday life.
Do not.
Simon is so opposed to this.
Why?
Do not. Do you know the amount of psychopaths would run around with a flamethrower out their pinky?
I think one of the funniest things here, I think I'm the only one in this group who's ever read or seen Harry Potter. And so, flamethrower out the pinky sounds amazing. But I'm concerned that there might be something like that in Harry Potter that just sneaks up around the corner and is like, boop, flame.
But it's the same issue, because if you take the magic from Harry Potter and put it into our everyday life, you have the same problem that you had in the actual universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Except we would have very better retail workers being like, oh, you're just trying to shit on me? Avada Kedavra!
Would we have to deal with the issue of like, oh no, they're building the next whatever bomb that could destroy an entire continent? Because like, you know what I mean?
You know, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Well, even the tech stuff that I was talking about before, right? Because that would create an ultra bomb, right?
Right.
Like, how much worse would things that are already worse get? Right?
Yeah.
And then, well, it would be like that old, like, Flash video from years ago where it was like, oh, I'm tired. We'll take a nap. Then fire the missiles.
Oh, God, that is deep. That's
a deep cut, right? But then we would just annihilate each other. It would just be, you know, Australians, but they'll die too.
Or if magic was a thing, would there be any point in making that kind of thing? Would we even have that kind of technology? Like, that would change. Introducing magic into our world, I feel like, would change things drastically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that depends. I guess it depends on whether or not magic is something you can just learn, kind of like a la Harry Potter. Or if there is the concept of some people have massive magic and some people have less.
Oh,
there probably would be.
Would there be a hierarchy?
I was gonna say, are you putting magic into a caste system? Because that would be ridiculous. Like, you get a little bit, and you get more, and then
probably
you get more,
would end up like that.
It's like, oh no!
But they don't get to pick and choose. They don't get to pick and choose who has what. You know what I mean? Like, Simon could have, I don't know. Simon could be the equivalent of Cyclops in his ability, right? But then Cordi could come along and be fucking Scarlet Witch and be able to alter fucking reality. You know what I mean? Like, I know that's not Harry Potter, but like still, like you have the guy that's like inadequate use of whatever that is, you know? But then you have Cordi, who can change anything at the drop of a hat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I would imagine that would be an issue. I would want to be Phoenix, but that's just me. Because then I could essentially never die, which would kind of suck, but...
Yeah. Immortality is a double-edged sword. It really is.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, listen, with these student loans, do not give me immortality. Let this end. Okay? I've been paying forever. I'm done. Don't make
I've been paying off my student loans for 16 generations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do they have to pay to go to Hogwarts? Is that ever brought up?
Okay,
it's not.
Like, I feel like I understand what you're saying, and I have concerns.
Yeah.
As I also have heard, I've never heard about people talking about tuition or student loans like that to go to Hogwarts. But if you were to put that bitch here, you know how much? I mean, like a $50,000, like in the Hamptons level, ridiculous school. Because for all the things they've had, and I've seen enough to like see that it's, you know, it's this big, beautiful school, all these different rooms and all this different.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, are these teachers just straight chilling, just to chill? Like, they've got to get paid. There's got to be like a wizards union somewhere, right? Like they're getting paid to take care of these questionable kids.
I mean, it could be like a public school system, to be honest. As long as you're within the wizarding world, you know, your parents pay a tax or something, and part of the taxes go towards funding the wizarding schools. So that's how you pay your teachers. That's how you pay for the food for the kids. The kids still have to buy their own books and wands and equipment for their classes. However, everything else is paid for.
Yeah.
Like, so it could be like a public school system.
Yeah, because I feel like it would be really irresponsible if they were like, this school, in order for you to go here and to learn your craft or whatever, is $50,000. Like, the Weasley family would not have been able to afford that. You know what I mean?
So, welcome to America.
This is America.
It would also be really irresponsible because if we take it in today's like economic issue or whatever, right? Like, no one would be able to afford that school. That would mean that you're running around with a bunch of untrained witches and wizards, right? So, like, no one is going to know how to use their power, and everybody is going to, like, end up, like, misusing it. Mm-hmm. And like, losing control, right?
I refer back to my earlier thought. What do you mean? The
bomb.
What do you mean? Don't know how to use it.
It might be a really light example, but like Harry Potter in the beginning, before he went to the school, like he was using magic on accident, like removing the glass so what's his face would fall into the snake pit or whatever. Yeah.
And the snake would get out. The times where his aunt would cut his hair and it would magically be grown back by the next day.
Yeah. Or him blowing up the other aunt.
But that was even after he started at Hogwarts.
That's
it was
true,
just unintentional.
Yeah.
Because hormones, I'm guessing. You know, he was probably starting to go through puberty at that point.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because you don't need a wand to do magic. It just helps you channel and control it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no.
So,
if you're an insane teenager with hormones.
Because wandless and wordless magic is a thing. Yeah.
Wait a second, you guys. I was a real cunt back then. Can you imagine me with some powers? Oh my lord!
Like,
did you just cut line? Break his legs.
Like, especially these kids. Like, these kids can have access to three spells, and or at least one, and kill somebody, easy. And they just have to say the fucking word.
There has to be intention behind it, though. They prove that.
True. Yeah,
they prove that. Because if you don't have the intention behind it, it's not going to work. You could be like, Avada Kedavra, and they might feel a tickle. You know? But if you are fucking pissed, and you're like, Avada Kedavra! Yeah, that person's dead.
Oh, is that why Voldemort says it?
You guys, we wouldn't have any more Karens. I'd just be like, abracadabra, bam.
Or Karen would just kill all the customer service people.
You know, that's a good point. It would be a battle. It's like that old adage where it's like, would you want one horse-sized duck or like 1,000,000 duck-sized horses? And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's worse? Like, all the Karens. Oh, yeah, they can't have power.
Yeah.
I like how we were just trying to justify all of that in like real world.
Okay, but I feel like there's some moments where you can kind of judge Dredd, right? Like you can kind of be like, I feel like I'm okay being Judge Dredd executioner, just bye.
Yeah.
But like if I could do it with magic or are you kidding me? I would have someone. I would need to bury a lot of bodies. A lot of bodies. Could I also magically Thanos snap the evidence away? Because like I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like an all-in-one spell, or is it I have to have a part 2? Like, yeah, no, that would be. But speaking of all this stuff, so it sounds like for you, Harry Potter is kind of like a cult classic for you.
Well, it's more of a fandom, I would say.
Yeah.
Fandom, okay. Or sorry, cult classic, but I mean fandom. Are there other things that are fandoms for the rest of you guys? Like I'm gonna out Cordi on like her Doctor Who's, but because someone's a little obsessed. But I don't know what Simon fandom. I may know, but I'm gonna let you go ahead.
Some H.P. Lovecraft cosmic horror shit.
You know, you and that cosmic horror word, you're really proud of that term.
I fucking love it. Okay.
No.
SCP.
Yeah, so no, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, would you like to go into SCPs for those who don't know what they are?
Yes,
yeah.
Do it.
SCP, I actually have to look up a proper...
you can give a summary of what you think it is while you're looking it up,
what do SCPs mean to you?
Yeah,
what is it about what is it about these SCPs that tickle your pickle?
They're horrifying.
Can you go into a little bit more detail?
extremely like everyday item, like I am a toaster. There is a whole ass SCP named I am a toaster. You cannot speak about said toaster without talking like you are the toaster. The more you talk to the toaster about the toaster, or generally around the toaster, you might start to believe that you are in fact a toaster.
First rule of Fight Club.
Like, people die from trying to plug themselves into the power main, or by just suffocating themselves by trying to shove as much bread inside of them as they can.
Ooh woo.
Me.
Like, everyday item that is just...
I'm sorry.
Ma'am, this is serious business.
You can't
mean
be
like
serious.
bread the food. Got it.
You were hella into that, and then Cordy, of all people, in the middle of nowhere. Oh, woo. I'm sorry. What?
I'm offended.
Oh my god, that's great.
So SCPs are kind of like, because I haven't played the game myself, but SCPs are kind of like the things from Control, kinda. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's kind of the same idea, which is why it's a major reason I loved Control them as much as I do.
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole SCP is secure, contain, protect, which is what they do as far as they can.
Mm-hmm. And that's what they do in Control.
As a foundation. Yeah. Yep.
I feel like SCP is used widely, so I guess I don't know. I'm just thinking of in games, right? Like I remember like hearing like SCP containment breach and SCP and blah blah blah. But like I guess I wouldn't have put like Control right in the same, or like even like Alan Wake or in the same kind of bucket as like SCP, like containment breach or something.
Yeah,
like
I feel
that.
like it's the same concept.
It's the same idea because the whole SCP is the SCP Foundation. Every creature in the universe is designated the word SCP and then a number. To add on to it a class, depending on how dangerous it is, how hard it is to contain. There's so much shit, but there's no continuity, so everything goes.
So but SCP is more of like specifically those games, they're more like horror, right? Yeah.
There's there's nothing good about
Well, I
the
mean,
SCP
there are
universe.
some in the Control universe, that we're essentially dealing with SCPs. They call them AWEs and OOPs.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, some of those can be used for good. Like, they don't really have any negative side effects, but the majority are negative. They don't, like, yeah, they may benefit you, but you're going to pay the consequences for it, and it's just, like, at least in Control, there's some that are useful.
Right.
So.
There's some that give you telekinetic powers.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing good. Well, there are some that are not, like, inherently bad, because there's people SCPs.
Yes.
And, like, they're not all evil. They don't all despise humanity.
Yeah, there's that one that goes through walls.
There's one of those. And then there's the guy who just really wants to not kill everybody, but everything that has to do with the human race slowly gets destroyed whenever he's near it.
I'm only laughing because you got really excited about trying not to kill everybody, and I'm like, is that Simon's SCP?
I'm just trying not to commit murder.
The only other one that I know of is the one that, like, only moves when you blink or when you're not looking at it.
Oh, yeah.
It's essentially a weeping
statue.
angel.
Yeah.
Yeah, except it just snaps your neck.
Yeah,
Oh.
instead of sending you back
And
in
then
time.
moves on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. You didn't know about that one.
good to know. And then now learned there's ones that walk through wall, ones that will snap my neck. So, I'll sleep never. Thanks, guys.
Do you sleep ever anyway?
That's
why
really
you gotta
true.
out me like that?
I thought you were out and proud about that fact, though.
No, I mean, maybe, probably. I'm so tired, I can't tell you if I am. Oh, that's
Just proved our
terrifying.
point.
You're welcome. But no, that sounds... I guess I never really got into the SCP thing. Like, I just knew it existed. And there were items, like you were saying before, that have, like, a SCP and a number. But I was like, I don't know what they're about, what they can do. And so, all right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How many are there?
There's around 10,000 different ones, I think.
Damn.
And some of them are only contained because they believe that their containment measures work. They just don't try and escape because they believe they work.
I mean, that's like psychological warfare, right? Like...
That's how they contain gods.
Okay. Yeah, probably.
Uh-huh.
Thanks for pointing at me when you said that, by the way.
Yeah.
Contain.
You got it, buddy.
But yeah.
So fandoms.
Yes. For me, Doctor Who is probably my main one, if you were unaware. I did not get into the series until they rebooted it. Well, not really rebooted it, but brought it back in 2005 with Eccleston. And because that was my freshman year of college. So lots of changes, lots of stress. It became like my comfort show. I sat there and I would watch it with my dad when I went home on the weekends because he'd DVR it, so we'd be able to skip through all the commercials and everything. And it was great because this was before streaming services were a thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, you used to have to go past commercials.
Yeah, well, that was 2005, which I think that's the year YouTube started. So,
Yeah, right around then.
Yeah, before YouTube, you had to really find your viral videos through other means. But Doctor Who has meant a lot to me over the years, not only as like a comfort thing, but it's been a great source of entertainment, a lot of thought-provoking episodes, and then some not-so-great ones. But I think that comes with pretty much any TV show / fandom. You always have, your ups and your downs, your really, really likes, and your, this was not a great choice, thank you very much. Like we were talking about the SCP, that, you blink and it moves. Same thing with the Weeping Angels, is if they are unable to be seen by any eyes, including, other Weeping Angels, like, they can move around pretty much however they want. They touch you, they send you back in time, and they feed off that temporal energy, which I find very interesting. So they kill you, but not instantaneously. They just kill you by sending you back in time, and you die. You live your life there, but you're completely displaced. you have no way to get back to the present because, the doctor's not going to be able to chase down everyone that was touched by a weeping angel. And so that's how they feed. They feed off the temporal energy of sending you back, which is definitely an interesting concept. And there's other monsters, you have your Daleks, your Cybermen. The main villain, I would say that's a common thread aside from those two throughout the series is the Master, who, like the Doctor, is a Time Lord who can regenerate into different forms. And it's just a really good show, even though it's been getting some shit lately because they had to switch over, all the writing team. I think they got a new composer for the music. The creative direction changed. And then they did a complete cast change as well. So it was like you go from changing small things, like maybe the writers for this, for this season or the directors and stuff. And, this season we're changing doctors or companions. And so before season, God, I'm going to fuck this up. I want to say season, before you got to Dr. 13, there we go. Before you got to Jodie Whittaker. Everything changed slowly, so it wasn't a big deal. But as soon as Jodie's season came in, everything changed at once, and there was big backlash for the most part. That kind of has thrown the fandom into butting heads over everything. It's interesting.
I heard that there was some sort of micro feud in it, and I was like there was a Hatfield McCoy situation where people were kind of I don't like, but I didn't know what it was. Mm-hmm. So that was the critical point then.
But yeah, but besides all that, I've actually gone back and watched a decent amount of the older series, Doctors 1 through 8. Actually, I haven't seen the 8th Doctor because that was a standalone movie, but that's beside the point. Favorite old Doctor, Pertwee, number 3. And then favorite modern day Doctor, still Tennant, number 10. So Capaldi is a close second, though. I love Capaldi. He is the grumpy old uncle.
Matt Smith.
Shush.
What, run that by me again, Chief? One more time?
Matt Smith.
I was like, the hell are you doing?
Don't make the gremlin come after you.
Oh no.
And Rhenvi is exiting chat.
She has that voice, you guys.
And I slip into it so
she
easily.
She slips into it. We were just talking last night like no one's business, and she was like, I'm like, the fuck did you just do? It's seamless now. We never know who we're gonna get. Is it this Cordi? Or is it Cordi? Hello, how you doing? Yeah, that. There you go. That little tidbit is nightmare fuel. But we're are you okay? No, I was trying to think of fandoms in general because I guess my brain just doesn't attach to it. But I guess anything can be a fandom, right? Mm-hmm. It's just stuff that you like.
Yep.
So I was thinking of shows and stuff too that I had watched and I always religiously watched, and I don't know if this is a fandom, but I'm making it a fandom right now. But Law and Order SVU, I have watched all 20 years of those shows. I could tell you almost every episode. And who came on, who left, and how many different actors got their start on that show. I'm or were cameoed for a minute because they've had damn near everyone on that show.
Yeah.
And I'm oh yeah, so watching Mariska Hargitay go from this short-haired little precinct cop to being the captain, long hair, yeah, owning it, and I'm I stand you, girl. I stand you. You go catch those bad guys. You catch them. You make them pay. Honestly, tell you right now, if she stood me in the corner and was we're gonna get you, I'd be you know what, you got me. Here's the cuffs. You baby girl, you got it. Just take me in. Take me in. Take me in. But in other fandoms, maybe probably Star Wars. And a similar thing I think I like seeing my ladies grow. So my example, right, is seeing obviously Marissa Hargitay grow from this like precinct cop to a captain, but like before Leia died, she became, she had rose to power, right? So finally had made it from this like, I'm like a women's empowerment fandom. So whenever I can find those moments where they're like rising up, I'm like, yeah, what? What are you laughing at me about?
I did not hear I like to see my ladies grow. I'm just gonna leave that there.
There was nothing wrong with that. Your mind's in the trash.
I thought you said I like to watch my labias grow.
Oh! I mean, well, now I want to know if they do.
Do you water them?
I don't know. Am concerned. Panic.
No calm, just panic.
What do? I was like, why are you laughing at me? This was a nice. Never mind. Anyway, watching my labias grow. They've moved on in life. What's up?
Okay, so question is SVU the one with Meloni or whatever that actor?
He was, yeah, Christopher Meloni.
Yeah, there's a whole entire fandom dedicated to his ass.
Mm-hmm. You and I talked about this.
Yeah, I know, but
we
still,
have shared
people
photos.
needed to know. People need to know that there's an entire fandom dedicated to his ass.
Uh-huh.
I just realized that you're talking Special Victims Unit.
Wow.
You need to go to bed?
What?
You need to go to bed.
This...
I have always known it as Law and Order Special Victims Unit.
Yeah. We've truncated over here. It's SVU. But anyway.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Not an SUV.
Took a while.
I was about to say.
Yes, that's what we're talking about. But I'll tell you though, Cordi, because I saw Meloni originally in Oz. This is going to date me for people who listen to the podcast who don't know what it is. That's okay. You probably weren't conceived yet. Oz was back in like the early mid 90s. And it was
it that old?
Yeah, it was a prison. I watched it when my dad was still alive. So like, and I was at his house. Long story, guys. But for another day. It's got to be old because I remember watching it
90,
years ago.
97 it says.
Was when it started?
Yeah.
Okay, well, still feels older than that. Still holding up the conception line. Anyway, so
Kyle was born in 97.
Well, there you go.
So,
Kyle probably has no recollection. But he was in prison. He played what would be considered kind of the perpetrator almost, which is hilarious that later on he went on to SVU to stop people like him. But it was on HBO, and that's when HBO was, I think, a little bit more risky than it is now in certain circumstances. And there was a lot of men in a prison, so somebody becomes someone's bitch at some point, and there was a lot of Meloni backside that was exposed, and it was delicious. It's one of those butts you just kind of want to bite. You're just like, I just want to
take a nice chunk out of.
Yeah, for no good reason. But I'm that person who will just kind of like walk up and just go, ow, to my husband, and he's just like, the fuck, like, hi, and I'm like, hi. Hi. He's like, okay. What's going on, babe? You need something? Like, no. Shink. Walks away. I'll be back.
You got your daily infusion of ass.
Yeah, I'm just kind of be like, hello?
I need my daily infusion of dick. Anyway, sorry.
I mean, need your dick appointment scheduled? Yes, we got you.
I need one, yeah.
Yeah.
That sounded urgent.
It's been a long year.
It has been.
Call the dicks.
Yeah, call the dicks.
Call the dicks.
Call the dicks.
It's been a long year. It's only, we're only about a month in at time of
it's not
recording.
2020 anymore. Fuck.
No, it's not. It's not. Yeah.
I just remember that.
How does that make you
Okay,
feel?
but like the first 10 days of the year were pretty rough, so I feel like we're on 2020 steroids part 2.
Oof.
And so I just feel like maybe things will start to neutralize, but this month was not exactly the gravy train.
And we all know that the New Year's
months.
actually February 1st.
Right. Why don't we start the year on March 13th? Let's just start about that, because that's when things started to get real crazy.
Yeah.
Until then, I think we're still in 2020, just chapter 10.
This is the epilogue.
Epilogue, yeah, there you go, there you go, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're almost there, almost there.
We're gonna need a new calendar that starts on that day and just call it year 1 after COVID.
Right.
Yeah, instead of AC.
Wait, so AC. In the year 1, AC. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. And AC.
But you were talking about Oz, Rhenvi, which is a TV show. You were talking about SVU, which is a TV show. Here's the thing. What are you guys obsessed with TV show-wise recently?
Ooh,
Not in the past, just something you're continually doing. Like, real quick for me, just hubby and I recently got HBO Max, so we binged the Harley Quinn cartoon, which is freaking fantastic. Go watch it if you can, if you have access. Also, Doom Patrol. We are having a shit ton of fun with that, which is like, it's DC, so like they're actual comic book characters, I believe, but also they're like the Misfits, which is hilarious. And there has not been an episode where I haven't laughed for Doom Patrol. So, but what about you folks? Anything that you have been listening or watching? Wow.
Does it have to be a like show or like a reality show?
No, any show.
Count?
I mean, Doom Patrol sure as hell is not a reality show.
Okay.
That'd be interesting.
Well, for me, I have kind of two, I guess. The first one is RuPaul's Drag Race. Like,
of course.
I started watching that when quarantine started, and I became obsessed, and it sparked this whole new like thing in me. And like,
oh, is that what you wanted to kind of pick up more, get more into makeup? Was that from that? Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I won't get into that right now. That's probably a story for another podcast, but or another episode of the podcast. But yeah, I've been watching a lot of RuPaul. Season 13 started at the beginning of this year, so I've been watching that, and it's been really crazy, but it's been fun. The other show I just started watching yesterday because I was on Netflix, and I was okay. First of all, do you guys remember the show Winx Club?
No.
Yes.
Okay, so Winx Club is like I want to say it's a cartoon about fairies, and it's kind of very like Sailor Moon-ish-esque, I would say.
It is.
But like it's kind of like I think it's Monster of the Week, but it also had like a continual storyline or whatever. It's not something that I watched all the time, but it was something that I would watch every now and then whenever it was on as a kid. Well, Netflix just released a darker, actual people, not like a cartoon version of that show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's on, at least it's on the US Netflix right now. And I'm on episode like 4 or 5, and I'm kind of digging it because it's scratching that like magic itch that I love to watch and stuff. So like I don't know, it's really good. I like it. But I'm easy to please though. I'm not one of those people that go into a movie and compare different Marvel movies, like this one was better. You know what I mean? Like
I can appreciate that. If you like something, you like something. So like I'm looking it up now because I'm like, I have never heard of that, and I never heard of the original series. But like I have been appreciating the what do they call it? The real life adaptations of things like that, where it's like not cartoon, but it's people.
Since I brought that up as a point as me enjoying things, even though people are like, blah, blah, blah. So like the fandom that I was really a part of, I'm going back a little bit, as a kid, was Charmed. I fucking loved Charmed. I watched that with my mom.
Yeah.
Prue is better than Paige anyway. Anyway, so like they recently released a reboot of the series. It's like the same concept, but it's 3 different sisters. Instead of all their names starting with a P, they start with an M. And it's a different group of girls. They don't live in California. They live somewhere else. But it's the same concept. Like, they find the book after the last family member passes away, and then they discover their powers and da 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 da. Like it's same concept,
Right.
but like it's different enough that like I can still see like the bits from the original, because like the basics are pretty much the same. Like you have the sister that can move things with her mind, the sister that can freeze time, and then the sister can like read minds, not see premonition or whatever. Or is it, or can she, or she an empath? It's one of the two. I haven't watched it in a while. And then they all come together and they like beat bad guys together, but they also added on like they're able to do things separately. So like, you know how in the original Charmed, they really only fought separately using their own specific powers.
Yeah,
right?
because it wasn't always like one at a time.
Yeah.
They would take on versus like the group. Yeah.
Yeah. So like they'd fight separately using their own powers, and they'd come together, say a spell together, and vanquish the demon.
Yeah.
Well, in this one, they have the option to actually use like almost like Harry Potter magic. Say a word, and then they do a thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think that's a really cool addition. That is one thing I wish that they had done in the original Charmed, because like I always felt like they should be able to do things separately, not be limited by the power that they have. If Phoebe was in a fight before, even when she got an active power, she is still considered weaker because she can't do what like Piper can do. Piper can fucking blow things up. You know what I mean? So like,
give me that power, please.
Yeah. So I feel like in this version, since they give them the ability to use spells separately, that like it brings them all closer into like an equal
level of power.
Yeah. Anyway, I say all that because I'm enjoying the reboot. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm not gonna watch it." But I'm like, I like the reboot, but like. And I can appreciate it for trying to draw off of the original Charmed. I still like the original Charmed more, but I do like the reboot. That's what I'm saying.
No, and I think you have the best attitude about it. That's what I have the same problem with like things that are rebooted. People are like, "Oh, that was trash." And it's like, well, are you looking at anything specific, or are you just saying like, "I don't like those people. Like, I don't like this." Like, I wasn't opposed. Like for example, like I love Ghostbusters. I did not like the female version of Ghostbusters. Underlying, they could have had a good story there, but I feel like the way they wrote it out and they acted those people, and it was not. No, I appreciated that they tried. I appreciated that there was an attempt, but it didn't work out the way I was expecting. But
I just love those four actresses together. That's why I loved that movie.
They're great. They're hilarious on their own. I just feel like they kind of got put in a situation where it was like, it's going to be hard to win this. You know what I mean? Like, successfully to get crowd approval, right?
Can we at least agree that Kate McKinnon and Leslie made that movie?
Yeah, for sure.
Like they're the ones that made that movie funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But when you going back to Charm for a hot second. I think that's when I first got my crush on. Do you guys know Julian McMahon?
Yes.
Or McMahon. Oh my
Cole
god.
Turner.
So he was he was also one of the doctors in Nip Tuck.
Yeah.
And like
that's why he left.
That guy is like young virgin me was like, you don't even have to buy me dinner, just take me. And I was like, please, like, you know how like you go up to a dog, they roll over and give you their belly. I was like, oh my god, if he walks up to me, I'm just gonna be like, hey,
legs in the air.
like, how you doing? Just take it, it's yours, and then just throw me away afterwards. Kick me, I don't give a damn. I was like, some things.
I'll be like, no, keep me, please. Keep doing this. Never stop.
Like, oh god, it was like I also have a mad crush, and I think I always will, and I will fuck up saying his last name, but David Boreanaz
oh my god,
Boreanaz. Oh my god. So I never really watched, what was that show, Buffy? I'm sorry. But Buffy? I wasn't a Buffy person. I am a humongous Bones person, and I love Bones to death. But I found out
you'd like him to bone you.
It gave me a humongous boner. I liked both of them. If I could have a Boreanaz and a Deschanel sandwich, are you kidding me? Oh my god, yes. I would have ascended. I have arrived. Like, it would be the most amazing mental orgasm I've ever had in my life. But I didn't realize he was in Buffy. So then I went back to go watch like snippets of younger him, and I was like, oh my god, this man was always beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, hello, sir. How you doing? So like mad crush him, and then the Julian guy for sure. And I'm like, they don't make them like you guys anymore, but y'all are delicious. Yes, please. So yeah, I think I probably have thirst fandoms and then actual shows. What about anything else? What about we called it? Cordi, we got
Simon?
yours. Simon,
what shows are you into? Right
shows.
What shows am I into? I haven't really been watching any shows lately.
Yeah, you have.
I've been watching...
I
haven't watched Drag Race
I'm
in a
not talking
while.
about Drag Race.
Oh! Wow.
That counts. I would count that as a show.
I would count that as a show.
True. You cannot discount the glory that is our god
Trixie
queens.
Mattel and Katya.
And Trixie.
Josh is the reason why I have a recurring $3 a month charge for WoW Entertainment to watch.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And I hate you.
They're
WoW
so
Entertainment,
much.
if you want to sponsor me or us,
Or me.
because I'm pretty sure I'm bringing people into your subscriptions. So.
God damn.
That's fucking glorious. It is the funniest shit.
Oh, it's so good.
The amount of times we said, I fucking love your accent, you whore, after you watched that episode.
Yes.
Those two are like 80% of the reason why I'm so inspired to start doing makeup and doing drag. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
And it's so funny because you're unassuming when you start watching an episode. You're like, okay, they're, two drag queens, and they start talking. You're like, wow, bitch.
Yeah.
All right, okay, all right, I can roll with this.
Within the first 10 seconds of an episode, they're like,
yeah.
boom! Dead babies and
And you're like,
decapitation!
wait a minute.
There's also something really cool about their friendship too, because like they've gone through so much since they were on Drag Race the first time. Like,
I think both together and separate. Like, I know one of them has had their serious struggles. But they've still maintained a level of continuity that you wouldn't know those existed, right?
And the fact that the other one didn't get mad, didn't lash out, they were just concerned about their friendship. They're like, I don't care about the show. I don't care about any of this. I just want you as my friend. And I thought that is
very selfless,
magical.
which is nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree, 100%.
And to see them come from that to where they're at now is like, it's really inspiring. Really inspiring. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I agree. I was just thinking.
I'm very
about
passionate today. Sorry.
No, you should.
No.
Be.
Why are
Don't
you apologizing?
How dare you have energy?
I love this. One of the things that at some point, maybe we'll show you a session, audience, but at some point, you can understand how much joy we get from this, because we're like Hollywood squares right now, the four of us stacked up on a Discord call with our videos on, and the two of them just looking at each other like, you stay hype. Okay, I'll stay hype. You do that. You got that. Like, it's gold. It's chef's kiss.
Sure is. Oh my gosh. Well, sorry. If we had to find you, Cordi, anywhere on the internet, where would we find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok at Cordelia Chase, Cordilia Chase. And yeah.
That's it? That's it? All right, Rhenvi. What about you?
Hey, I'm on Twitter, which you can find the links to everything else. And that's at Renegade G, Rhene, capital G on the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Click
okay.
around
And
from
how
there.
about you over there, Simon, on the other side of the world in the future?
I am on Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok as Lazy Warriors, and on Twitter as Warriors Lazy, and I post dumb shit.
You really do.
Guys, round of applause. Second episode of the year. He's nailed his socials. Like, yeah. what about you, Joshy? Where can we find you?
You can find me over on Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok as JosherXD, and you can also find me on Twitter as the JosherXD. Do not forget the, otherwise you will find a blank profile.
Am I the only cunt
Big
without
oofs.
TikTok? Oh well. Anyway, you won't find that in my socials, but enjoy everything else. Oh, that's awesome. All right, well, till next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.